ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Good morning, councillors and officers. I might ask everyone to bring order. We've gone after 9, and just like to welcome everyone for the February Ordinary Council meeting for 20th of February 2024. Welcome officers and councillors to our meeting. Councillors, I'd first like to begin with acknowledgement to country and acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today, the Drumbal people, and pay my respects to the elders, past, present and emerging. Also acknowledging our neighbouring Aboriginal peoples within our local government area, the Gungaloo Nation people, the Barada, Cabelbarra and Yedamurala people. Also acknowledging the Torres Strait Islander people whose lands are in the Torres Straits but who live and work on Aboriginal land. Councillors, I'd ask you to join and welcome Pastor Jonathan Maxwell from the Peace Christian Church to have our blessing for today's council meeting. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor, councillors, wider leadership and staff. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for this day and for this team of people that watches over this city. Thank you for the grace, for the business arising, for the strategy that arises, and for the future of the city. We bless the city. We bless the meeting, bless everything about this city, the tourism assets, Lord, every piece of infrastructure. Thank you, your hand upon it, your hand upon its people. May this be the best livable city of the state. And Lord, your hand upon the meeting today, efficiency, grace, knowledge, all things needed. I thank you for them in Jesus' name. Amen. Have a good meeting.
Thanks very much. Okay, councillors, we have a full table, but not sure Councillor Fisher is here. An apology? No word. We'll leave that open at this point, but if he's not able to attend, we'll record that as an apology for today's meeting. Councillors, confirmation from the previous minutes of the 23rd of January 2024 be confirmed as true and accurate. Move Councillor Smith, seconder. Councillor Kirkland. I'll put that. Those in favour. Those opposed, motion's carried unanimously. Councillors, declarations of interest in matters on the agenda. We have a number of councillors that have conflicts there today, so we'll walk through those, and I'll ask Councillor Smith to present her conflict there for item 11.6. I take it. Councillor Smith.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The water pipeline project is mentioned. It's not in any detail, but as usual. So if we're going to discuss that, I'd like to declare a prescribed conflict of interest, as my nephew is a partner in MTC and has a contract to cart water from Gracemere to Mount Morgan, and also my brother and other nephew are both employed by MTC, and also the pipeline runs past my brother's place at 248 Cabra Road, and also my brother and sister-in-law's place, Tricia and Don McKinnon, own a property on the corner of Mimira and Poison Creek Roads. I'll deal with this conflict by leaving the meeting when the topic of Mount Morgan water pipeline is discussed, including any area set aside for the public, and stay away while the eligible councillors discuss and vote on the matter.
Thanks very much, Councillor.
Mr Mayor, it is mentioned in a couple of places as well. I've got them all, had them all written down somewhere. Right through, like it's not just in that one area, it is
comes up a number of times.
In that whole document.
Okay, Councillor, we'll bear that in mind as we progress through the agenda, and if there is any discussion around the pipeline project or the location, we can declare that at that time, Councillor, and you can take leave of the meeting.
Yes, Mr Mayor, 11.6, yeah.
11.6 as the primary, yep.
Okay,
but we'll bear that in mind if it does come up during the discussions of our council meeting there, Councillor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shane Latcham, you have a 11.6 as well?
Yes, Mr Mayor, very similar to Councillor Smith. I have a prescribed conflict of interest in item 11.6, project delivery, capital project report, regarding the Mount Morgan water pipeline project. This prescribed conflict of interest arises as my brother Damien Latcham has purchased land situated at 3 Ladens Hill Road, Moongan, which is in close proximity to the top of Razorback Road, Mount Morgan. I understand it's not connected to Mount Morgan water and sewerage, however the pipeline corridor will run past the property. I'll deal with this conflict by leaving the meeting when the topic of Mount Morgan water pipeline project is discussed, including any areas set aside for the public, and stay away while the eligible councillors discuss and vote on the matter.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Latcham. That's noted. Councillors, we'll move on to our next items, but again, bear in mind if there are conflicts as we go through the agenda, please raise them at the time, or if councillors unaware, we can always make that opportunity to make that declaration at that time. Councillors, moving on to business outstanding nil, public forum deputations nil, presentations of petition. I'm led to believe, Councillor Kirkland, you have a petition.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you to councillors at the table. I have a petition here that's been presented to me from the community of businesses out in along the Alexandra Street, Power Street, Maloney Street area. They have requested, I'll just summarise it, they've got a fair amount of supporting information here, but I'll summarise it: to provide the safety initiative of formalised concrete parking on the existing grassed areas of footpath between the road and business boundaries along Alexandra Road between Power and Maloney Street. And that number 2, we respectfully additionally ask that council reprioritise the delivery of this request, committing to a delivery time frame no less than 1 year, as this connector road is growing busier by the week. So there's over 80 signatures here, and I would like that the petition be received and a report be presented to council or the committee, infrastructure or other committee responsible, meeting by the end of May 2024. So just put that the motion be received.
I'm not sure about the timelines on that. That's fine. Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Smith as the portfolio chair for infrastructure. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried, and if you could pass that petition on to the CEO, and that will be received. Thank you, Councillor Kirkland. Moving on to committee reports nil, councillor delegated reports nil. Moving on to our officers' reports 11.1, Amanda for the delegation for the request for negotiated decision for development application for material change of use for a shopping centre, showroom and multiple dwellings.
That's a mouthful.
So thanks Amanda, and welcome.
Good morning, Mayor and Councillors. So Council in June last year approved a development application for a development permit for a material change of use for a shopping centre, showroom and multiple dwelling for 12 townhouses, which is Coles at the old Bunnings site, which I'm sure you're familiar with. The applicant has made representations to include a revised stormwater management plan in the approved documents in condition 2.1 to provide certainty for the operational works application stage, which is where all the engineering design drawings occur. The applicant's change representations are considered reasonable and recommended for approval.
Thank you, Amanda. Councillor Mader, do you have anything as a portfolio for planning?
No, Mr Mayor, but happy to move.
Move Councillor Mader. Councillor Smith, did you have a question, or is that
No.
sort of left over from that? Do we have a seconder with regards to that report? Did you have a question?
I did have a question. I thought my light was on.
Question, Councillor Kirkland.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, just wanting to know, noting that the currency period for all stages is 6 years from the date of this approval taking effect. I would like to ask, because that site has been, dormant for so long, I'd just like reassurance from the council officers what measures they take to ensure that that is not another application after that period to extend it out and extend it out and extend it out. Is there some way of making sure that that is adhered to, that point there?
Yeah, through the chair, there's no way we can, they've got that period to develop it, and even under the legislation, if they wish to extend it, we can only refuse that request based on if there was some change to zoning or something that made the proposal inconsistent. So
basically that point doesn't really mean anything.
no, it's only obviously if there's any changes in policy, so that, and we can implement those changes after that period of time. But yeah, as far as making them develop within a period of time, there's nothing under legislation or any way we can enforce that.
Mr Mayor, just review. So to be clear, they could get this application through and hold that site and sit on it forever if the policies didn't change and they still had no other...
Yeah, in theory, under the legislation, yes.
Same as any developer, Councillor.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor, we have a mover. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Latcham. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, Amanda. We'll move on to the next item, 11.2, Rockhampton Show prize money registration fees. And that one would be Zach?
Yeah, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Smith?
Councillor Matthews and I have a conflict with this one, being on the committee.
No, you're appointed by council, so you don't have a conflict of interest.
Good morning, Zach.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, councillors. So this report is in regards to the Rockhampton Agricultural Show for this year. There's two parts to this report, and in the summary we've detailed it's for Council's current payment exception authority procedure requires Council or committee to approval to pay prize monies in cash, and that's what we are requesting today. Cash payments for show prizes are crucial to the operation of the Rockhampton Agri shows, and also standard practice across all shows around the nation. In addition to that, we're also seeking support to change the fees and charges for the stud cattle registrations. Now, the registrations for stud cattle last year, a single entry nomination fee was $20 per head, a group entry was $10 per head, and the lead steer nomination was $30 per head. Those are all increasing by $10, $5 and $10. So 20 to 30, 10 to 15 and 30 to $40 per head. And that request has actually come from the stud cattle committee themselves, not led by council, to align with other shows around the nation. So my request is that council support the payment in cash for show prizes, and also the review in fees and charges for the stud cattle.
Thanks very much, Zach. Questions? Councillor Kirkland, would you like one?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. So, Zach, last year this was presented to us as it is every year, about the cash prizes. And last year the question was asked whether there were other methods of payment to be explored. And the suggestion was around the Visa cards. I'd like to ask whether that was explored and whether or not that option, why it was discounted if it was explored.
Yeah, so we have explored the Visa card option. There is costs incurred with creating those Visa cards. The other part is the people that win the show money then reinvest it back into the show, and it's almost like a cash barter system that they use, the original form of currency. And so for that, cash is the request and is best practice for prize money at shows around the nation.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, in response to that, the previous committee, before we took over again, tried putting in bank accounts, and it was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
People were 3 months down the track still arguing about bank accounts and everything, so this is the best idea, and as Zach said, they reinvested anyway, and they need money for fuel to get to the next show and all sorts of things, but mostly they spend it there anyway, so yeah.
Okay.
Happy to move the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Mathers, did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Just through to Zach. Zach, how are you? Quick question in regards to, it says here that the registration fees for the stud cattle are proposed to be increased by the following as per stud cattle requests. You just touched on it then, but just so I understand, is the increase by the 20, the 10, 30, has it gone up by that amount, or is there a smaller amount? Are these the new amounts?
So there in the table it shows for single entry nomination, last year was $20 per head. Yep. This year the proposed fee is $30 per head, so that's an increase of $10. Yeah. For the group entry nomination...
Yeah, no, okay, sorry, I apologise for that. I completely misread that. I didn't look at the top of the table, so sorry about that. Sorry, I didn't look at the 22, 23. So the other question I've got, if that's all right, Mr Mayor, was... this approval that you're looking for, is that basically... is it just for the cash payments? We're not talking about the amount... are the amounts of cash prizes going to come to the council table so that we can see what those amounts are?
No, it's just the provision of cash as prize, as opposed to a Visa card or direct debiting. Okay.
All right, so the cash prize amounts will be coming to council table at some point?
They stay the same.
Sorry?
They're staying the same.
Yeah, okay, all right. I just thought that's something that council should maybe get a chance to discuss, Zach, only for the simple reason that I see, we want to make sure that ratepayers are getting good value for money out of the prizes, as opposed to how many spectators look at a particular division and how much cash prize is being paid to those.
Certainly.
All right, just a suggestion, Mr Mayor.
Okay, no worries. Thanks, Councillor Mathers. We can have a look at that as the show committee forms and work around that as if that's needed at the time, so it's not a biggie. You happy to second Councillor Mathers? Yes. Moved Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Mathers. No further questions. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Thanks very much for that report, Zach. We'll move on to our next item, 11.3, the Queensland Beef Corridors Program. And we have Martin here. Welcome, Martin, if you would like to present your report. Thank you.
Morning, Mayor and Councillors. Councillors are probably aware of the Queensland Beef Corridors Councils, a collaboration of 7 councils in central and western Queensland, who have been advocating since about 2021 to attract some additional state and federal government funding to important or strategic road corridors within the central Queensland region. Now that advocacy has been successful to the tune of $500 million, of which $400 million is coming from the federal government and $100 million coming from the state government. As it presently stands, initially those funding commitments were to commence from 25-26 on. And very recently, as in last week, we are aware now that the federal government have pushed their funding commitment out a couple of years to 27-28. But discussions with the state at this point in time indicate that they're still committed to providing their portion of the funding from 25-26 onwards. What the Queensland Beef Corridors Steering Committee are asking at this point in time is a commitment from councils, a funding commitment from councils to continue the work of the Queensland Beef Corridors councils through the appointment of a program manager for the 2024-25 financial year. The thinking is once that we get through 24-25, the funding kicks in 25-26, then that ongoing commitment for program management and program development will then fall to that program, which will be managed by the state. The amount of $35,000 basically is based on a budget which you would have seen in the attachments, a confidential attachment because of the financial nature of the estimate of the budget. But it essentially falls to 6 of the 7 councils to fund the anticipated cost of having a program manager appointed for 1 year. The role of the program manager is obviously to keep collaborating across state, federal government and councils, the 7 councils involved in this, and develop the program works further and look at how we prioritise the road corridors. So that's I suppose, the basis of the request, and that's the basis of my recommendation of seeking commitment from council for a financial contribution up to $35,000 excluding GST for the 24-25 financial year, which would then be included in my operational budget.
Thanks very much for that report, Martin. I have a question. To be clear, as the Beef Roads Corridor Committee member, our focus was on making sure the money was secured in the federal assessment of infrastructure projects. It was a real risk of losing that $400 million when the review was undertaken. So once the federal government had committed that the money was there or will be there, that was a change in the position from the Beef Committee to feel secure that money was coming. For our own perspective from Rockhampton Regional Council, Martin, can you just clarify the timing? Wouldn't have an effect on our Glenroy project, as we need that time because we have our own budget constraints about how we can deliver that project anyway, so there's no bearing on pushing that out over those in those forward years. Martin?
No, the Beef Corridors allocation of the Glenroy crossing it's a $15 million allocation, of which $12 million would come from the feds and $3 million from council, was planned to be spent around about that 27, 28, 29 onwards, and that was 2 factors. One, we also have the ROSI money, which is a different federally funded program in which we were developing parts of the road network and doing the Glenroy crossing. That was the $25 million project, which is 20 million feds and 5 million council. We had planned on, and we do plan on, starting to develop that program and deliver that program from 24-25 onwards through to about 27-28, and then we were looking to spend the Beef Corridors money after that, and just to have a continuing line of work on Glenroy Road. The other influencing factor, of course, is also managing our long-term financial forecast, and so we purposely back-ended the ROSI money to deliver the bridge out a number of years to be able to assist with delivering on the Moonee Sewerage priorities we have at this point in time. That was sort of the earliest where real money could be put back into that corridor. So yeah, that's roughly the timing.
Yeah, so to be clear, that forward push won't have a bearing on our project here in our own regional council area councils. No. So just to make that clear. Okay, questions? Councillor Kirkland, then Councillor Rutherford. Councillor Kirkland.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. This is a really important program, and I believe something that we absolutely should continue to advocate for our sister cities and also for our region. I'm just looking at the budget estimates that came out last week and see that they're going to spread that $400 million out starting from 27-28 out to 32. My question to you, Martin, is do we propose that this $35,000 is going to be indexed and continue to come back to the table year on year right out until 2032? That being said, I think it's a small amount of money for a really good dividend, but just asking the question.
No, at this point in time, what I'm seeking at the moment is a commitment for the 24-25 financial year only. The anticipated, how it'll progress after that is once the federal and state government money is in their budgets, that any program delivery costs would then be funded out of those budgets in the state and federal arena.
Mr Mayor, my next question would be to you as a committee member then. Will you continue to advocate to pull that money back forward in the budget estimates? What will be the advocacy push?
Councillor, again, that'll be the committee's decision. But as a councillor, I was very happy and comfortable that the money was there, not lost totally. That was the real risk that we were facing. To say that it's in there is a benefit. How that timing works around that is something for the committee to work on going forward. So I support, and being the beef capital and those roads coming into our town and what it means to our industries in the beef area, I'll advocate along with the rest of the committee on the timing of those projects from there on. So, but to give the government the due response to the change, I think that's only fair. I was a bit annoyed with some of the media that went out without firstly going to the new minister and asking that question, posing that question first before shooting from the hip. So, as I said, I'd rather, and because we're in caretaker mode, it is a very difficult area to be in that space at the moment. So this funding will allow after the appointment of the new council then to take those steps and again advocate for whatever the committee's decision is going forward. Yeah. And I'll take it from the other councils that they'd rather see that try to come forward as soon as possible. So we'll work on that from that level, if that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor, it does. Is that, there's no actual budget commitment for the Glenroy Road yet, though, from federal, is there?
There is. The Rossi money's
there.
Yeah,
currently there's funding commitments under the Rossi Roads of Strategic Importance. That's one program.
It's
and
different to this, though.
Currently there's a global budget for the beef roads corridors based on the program that was submitted to them, which included Glenroy Road.
And that's Glenroy Road, which the lead, the wings onto the bridge, basically, that we're looking for that funding to be part of that.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you. Councillor Rutherford.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and great program, and congratulations. You know, pity it's been pushed out, but congratulations for managing to keep it there. I think my question was around if this position was to start, because the money was due to start and it was to deliver the program, what will they do in the time before the interim, before that money becomes available?
Just to clarify, is that before the federal money becomes available?
Yeah.
At the moment, the state government are still saying that at this stage their commitments through 25, 26, 27 are still there. And that probably only amounts to about 25 million. I would think initially there'd be program development work, which will include corridor assessment, design and planning type work. Whether we'll see any ceiling on the ground for that sort of money, you would expect to start seeing some projects commenced, but will slow the program. I mean, the program will not accelerate until the federal money really kicks in. So it just extends, basically. The original idea of the steering committee was to try and deliver the whole project over 6 years. It's probably going to take 10 now.
Yeah. And Mr Mayor, the other question I had was about the Glenroy Road, the inclusion. So it's been included, but I'd be keen to understand what parts, and you just said the wings either side of the bridge. Was there any consideration of the Devlin Creek crossing?
I mentioned that to Martin this morning. There is a pathway request come through from a resident on that corridor because of the Glenroy Bridge is out with the flooding. I haven't had an update on that, so I think that's something we need to sit down and get an understanding about what the assessment tells us about that and what options are there going forward. As this may take a few years, is there some work that needs to be done to resolve that issue that's currently there if we look at further flooding and that bridge being out for extended periods?
All right, thanks, Mr Mayor. I would like to have a chat about that, included in that discussion. I've got a fair bit of information from the residents over the other side of the river.
Yeah, I think I may have been
regarding
just
that.
CC'd in that, but I'd asked that to come through because I was in that email to find out where that's at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Portfolio spokesperson, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, great report. Thanks, Martin. And something I've always been very interested in, especially for the Glenroy Road and the bridge. A bit disappointed with saying that it may be pushed out a bit, that money might fall out of the sky and we can start earlier, which will be good. Just a confirmation, Martin, that every council is paying the same, because it's a lot of times we're the biggest council and we always get hit with the biggest bill. So everyone's paying that $35,000?
Not exactly, Councillor. Essentially, there's 7 councils that are within the collaboration or the steering committee. The expenditure has been spread across 6 of those 7 councils.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. All the same?
Yes.
35,000, yeah. Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Councillor
Mr.
Smith.
Mayor.
Councillor Wickerson.
Thanks, Mayor. Probably along the same lines. I support the recommendation the office has put up there, and even in its own right, the return on investment stacks up really, really well. We've said here before that we get more done working together, so there's some more benefits beside the obvious that's in the report, that all of those council partners that are mentioned in there are ones that we need to develop a broader relationship with. So being in the tent and working with them has more positive benefits. One of the questions that I had on the map that's attached to that, it shows that Townsville is also part of that network. I wonder how active that is, and are they paying their way? I mean, I didn't see them on the list of other partner councils on it, and they're a big city. I'm just wondering if they're not paying their share, why aren't they? Martin?
Yeah, I mean, the actual corridor to Townsville, I suppose, at this point in time is reasonably well developed, and there's no funding that we're looking to put towards that corridor. I think it was essentially included as one of the strategic ports for livestock, live export type movements and those sorts of things, similarly to the Port of Gladstone. They were just trying to, I suppose, show how our networks feed into our livestock exchanges, our meat works, and the live export trades as well.
Yeah, no, that's all good. And I mean, one of the other advantages as well, again, the report says it's going to be more efficient and safer for those livestock transport coming in, but also safer for the general public using those roads too. Having to share with those big vehicles, anything that makes that safer is a good investment, I think.
That's right. It is vital for a lot of the economies in those rural towns. The tourism trade is a big factor, and having safer roads for caravans and the like can help with the upgrades for the beef industry as well. So it has a dual benefit there. You're quite right. Okay, councillors, if there are no further questions there, Councillor Smith, you happy to move? Councillor Rutherford, like to second? Move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Rutherford. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Thanks very much, Martin. We move on to item 11.4, the zoo shade structure options. And good morning, Aaron, if you'd like to walk us through that report. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, Mayor and Councillors. Following recent discussions on the zoo shade project through the budget revision process, today I'm going to present to you a report seeking a direction to move forward with. So to enable an informed decision today, I'll be taking you through several options considered, as well as some of the background behind the project and some of the complexities and the need for shade within the zoo. So I guess to start at the start and contained within the report, both enclosures were built in 2020 and...
Sorry, Aaron. Councillor Rutherford, did you have a comment?
Sorry,
question?
Aaron. Mr Mayor, I'd like to lay this matter on the table pending a workshop and an actual on-site discussion. I think it's really important that when we talk about that, we need to be up there having a look at things ourselves and being on-site. So I acknowledge the effort that's gone into this report, but honestly I think this is one of those things where we have to be on ground, having a look and discussing it in more depth.
Okay. Councillors, I see a lot of head shaking, nodding, so yeah, timelines for that.
We have to work on that, Mr Mayor.
No, just leave it open, yeah, as soon as possible then. Okay, so...
Pending the workshop and an on-site meeting.
Okay.
And an on-site Meadowland table pending an on-site workshop.
Okay, thanks, Karen. You're happy to move that, Councillor Rutherford. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Latcham. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Councillor Kirkland. Record it? Yes. Yep. Councillor Kirkland wished to record opposition that. The motion is carried. Thank you, Aaron. Councillor, we move on to item 11.5, which is the Workers' Memorial. That's that one. MJ? Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and Councillors. So this report is for the Workers' Memorial, which was previously agreed to go at the southern end of Colburn Park. So we've met with the unions again around that location, and they've put forward a preferred location, which is the northern end of Colburn Park. So council officers, I guess, don't have any issues with this. It was one of 3 locations that was previously provided to the unions to consider, so this report is basically just to consider that updated position.
Councillors, any questions on that report? If not, I'd have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Wickerson, seconder Councillor Smith. Put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you very much, MJ. Straightforward request. Item 11.6, Project Delivery Capital Project Report, and Peter. No, if we don't talk about it.
Can we exclude it?
Thank you. Good morning, Peter.
Yeah, good morning, councillors. So, yeah, just to be clear, I'll do a update report on all projects other than Mount Morgan Pipeline first. Okay, this is the January report for project delivery, and I'll just run through a few projects. Botanic Gardens and Zoo redevelopment has started yesterday, and so we've awarded, and the visitor hub and amenities will commence construction. Quite a milestone. It's been an effort to get to that point. The next project I'll highlight is the Mount Morgan Pool. So it's on track and on budget. The plan is to have that operating around about the 18th of March. There's water in it, and they're just commissioning it at the moment. That'll take, as I said, a few weeks. The airport air handling unit project is completed. North Rockhampton STP. So the new train has been completed, and it's in the commissioning phase, and that will go on between now and April to just make sure it's operating and performing properly, and then we'll start that decommissioning of one of the old trains. And the last one I'm going to highlight is Glenmore Solar Farm. It is essentially complete and ready for connection. Now, that sounds a quick process, but it's not. So over the next probably 2 months, we'll start that process. So that's the connection and working with Ergon of the high voltage connection into that system. So, but all componentry is on site and commissioned. It's just the final connection. And I'm happy to take any other questions.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Just on the North Rocky sewage treatment plant upgrade, once we start on the second train, or the old trains, can we get regular updates on that one? Just provide what the assessment details as they do that. Is that possible, or is that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's just important to have that oversight over that one as it's starting to go through the assessment of that.
So once that's decommissioned, there's a full, effectively, structural condition assessment and a report, and we can update council once that's completed.
And I think that's probably, subject to the new council being the new council going out there to have an inspection of the
Yep.
site, on-site inspection as well, to get an update on the new facility, but so they're going to have a look at the old one, what's happening in that space as well.
Yeah,
Peter?
the most critical thing is to look at the old one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's where the money could or could not go, depending on the assessment. And just on the solar farm project, just again to state that the power from that will be just used during the, there won't be any excess power there needing to go into the grid. That's right?
Absolutely.
It'll be all.
Yeah. So that those solar panels don't supply the full capacity required for the treatment plant.
Yep. Okay. Righto. Questions, Councillor Kirkland?
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and absolutely agree with you on the North Brockie sewage treatment plant and those trains. It was good thinking there. We were both on the same plane. And the the treatment solar farm as well. I do have questions around the Botanical Gardens internal pathway network, which is mentioned in the summary of projects that are happening. It says nothing's happening there. My question is that not a safety issue around the pathways out there? And why is that not happening?
Just let me check here.
It's just under the key milestones chart that you've got.
It's completed. That's
All
why
that
it
is
says
done
nil.
doesn't say
Okay, so
completed on there,
I thought it had been completed, yeah, so.
it doesn't. That's all right.
Yep.
The Walter Reed development, can you please give a little bit more detail around that?
It's still early days, but it's a heritage building and it's looking at resolving the leaking roof, the trade waste connections, and somewhat. Oh yeah, the ring main, yeah, the water main, yeah.
So it's,
So it's small, it's a complex building. As I said, the heritage component will make it more complicated. So we're just going through that now and how to physically replace the roof. It's currently an occupied building, so there's all the logistics and planning of that is underway now.
through you, Mr Mayor, how much was set aside for all of those repairs? I think it was a couple of million.
3.5?
3.5 million. That's in today's monetary term estimation. There's a lot of work there. Is that got a contingency for some indexation?
That 3.5 would have been a notional amount put in a budget that you approved this current year, and I've just described that we're trying to scope the project. So to answer your question, we've got to see how much this project's going to cost, scope it. So there would have been a contingency put in there, but whether this amount is the right amount, too early to say.
I'm so sorry, I just have a further question to that comment.
No need to be sorry, Councillor, it's a question.
So through to you again, through you, Mr Mayor, to Peter, then this is a heritage listed building, yes? So I would be asking, are there any extra heritage components that need to be thought of as far as those maintenance things are concerned? I'm imagining that, because as soon as we go heritage village, everything's always expensive, more expensive. So is there a heritage observation or a heritage assessment or some sort of extra costing that hasn't been built into those first assumptions?
No, it's been considered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, councillors, any further questions on Peter's report? Councillor Rutherford.
Not a question, Mr Mayor, but I was just wondering whether it would be possible, because I was a bit the same with the Walter Reed Centre about what the scope actually was. So I'm just wondering whether in these reports we can just have the scope of the project.
Councillor, we've been talking in there's a workshop about how we look at these going forward. We're not getting the information to the table, so how we structure with the new council will be a big part of that, providing that information and detail that we're looking for.
There you go, Mr Mayor. Great minds think alike, or less than never differ, whichever one you want to go with.
Yeah, but we're having a workshop before the election just to talk about that and what that'll look like going forward. So understanding when we see those reports, the level of detail is not there for us to get a full understanding of the projects.
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Righto, thank you. If there's no further questions, then I'm happy to move recommended. Seek a seconder. Councillor Latcham, I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, Peter. We'll move on to 11.8, the risk operational one, sorry. Oh, sorry, Mount Morgan Water Supply. Jumped. How can I forget that? And we have two councillors that have left the room for that. Peter, just...
Okay. So, obviously the project's commenced. The contractor has possession of site, and we've laid about 1.5 kilometres of pipe so far, I believe. It's in that order. Probably close to 2 by the end of next week. The second component is the pump station. So we're at the 35% design point right now. So there's workshops underway right now with our staff to review that 35% design. And then we review it at the 65, and then we'll finalise. What else do I need to say about Mount Morgan? The road design is at the 60% design, and the contractor, once that's finalised, we will come back to council and advise how we are going to construct the Razorback component of roadworks. So haven't landed on that yet, but we will once we get the 100% milestone.
Peter, just a question on that, and it's about providing information back to the community. I note that we've had earlier in the report that the pool opening's on the 18th of March. Is there an opportunity to combine some type of a public update on the project while we do that one?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, the plan was to update the website and to put out a little newsletter, but we're just waiting for it to progress a little bit further before we start that process.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I had a concern. I think we need to bring the community along the project and give that detail. But whether the 18th of March is too soon, or whether that's an
it could be okay.
while we're up there doing an event, to combine that with an update on the pipeline project, if possible. Okay, thank you. Councillor, any questions to Peter on that one? It's great to see that there's finally pipes in the ground. Yeah, it looks like we'll get those updates regularly on that, as well as how that work's progressing as well. Thanks very much, Peter. Do we have the mover and seconder with that previous? No, we'll need one for this one. Move Councillor Kirkland, seconded Councillor Rutherford. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously, and we'll invite the other councillors back to the meeting. Thank you. We'll move on to our next item, councillors. 11.8, the risk register update as of the 12th of January 2024. And Cassane or John or Damon? Who's got that one? Cassane. Thank you. Good morning, Cassane.
Good morning, Mr Mayor, councillors and council officers. Presented to you today for adoption are management's reviewed and updated risk registers. Of note, this period, there are several risks that were previously
Cassane, sorry, I might have missed an item, did I?
Well, that's why I was a bit confused.
My apologies, I've...
Well, you want to just change what Cassane's there, Mr Mayor, just change the order of business and deal with the risk register?
Righto, okay. Can we do that? I'm happy to move that. Sorry, I've...
You're right. Well, that's what I said. Did
pipeline.
they
I was so
change
excited
the order?
about the pipeline project, I jumped over one. I've seen some blank looks looking back at me then. Sorry, my apologies.
You're right.
Move that we deal with item 11.7 first and then come back to the council agenda. Happy to move. Seek a seconder. Councillor Wickerson. Put that. Those in favour. Those opposed. Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, Cassandra.
I'll start again. Good morning, Mr Mayor and councillors. Presented to you today for adoption of management's reviewed and updated risk registers. Of note, this period, there are several risks that were previously accepted and are now being treated, as identified in the red text in both of the attachments for the corporate and operational risk registers that you have received. Also, management have indicated that treatment of one of the risks has now been completed, and so next period it will no longer show in the risks undergoing further treatment section of your reports. I'll take this report as read, and if there aren't any questions, recommend the changes to the risk registers be adopted.
Thanks very much, Cassandra. Councillors, any questions to the report? Councillor Rutherford.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Cassandra, Appendix A, Rockhampton Regional Council Risk Calculator and Tables Diagram.
Yes?
Can you explain to me, please, what the red writing is?
Okay, so with our risk registers and our risk process, people automatically go to a negative option. So they think about the bad. Risk can also have a positive, so you might want to take a risk to achieve a better outcome, but it's a considered risk. So the red in those tables are for your opportunity side of it. So it's risk and opportunity. So the black is your typical where you go to, this is a bad thing. The red is, this could be a good thing.
All right. I guess some of it was fairly subjective, so
yes.
Then in a risk management role, whether it's negative or positive, how do you then rate it?
Well, the rating is in that table. So, yes, it is subjective because our risk management process isn't quantitative. It's based on a qualitative table. So there's no, I suppose, formula that says this is going to be really bad. It's a general, this is a sense of feeling that we've got. And we're prepared to accept that risk or not accept that risk. Does that explain it for you?
Yes, yep, no, that's good. I was trying to get my head around where they sat and why it sat like that. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Rutherford.
Thanks,
Councillor Kirkland.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Cassandra, just checking with the risk P386, which is on the North Rocky Sewage Treatment Plant, just coming off the back end of the previous item where we spoke about, or the item before that, where we're talking about the trains and they're going offline and we're assessing them and then going back online. Is there, does this particular risk P386 include the trains and the work that's happening with those, or is that a separate issue altogether, given that there's, as the Mayor has highlighted, the risk of finding stuff that could end up costing reputation and extra money?
Peter, you might be able to answer that one.
The risks of the train is all part of project risk, so that's all been factored in and
So
dealt
it's in
with.
this, yeah.
And it's that there is just an englobo risk of the entire plant.
Great.
But the details are in the project risks and project budget allocation.
Similar to what we did with the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant when we went through that same process assessment of the the integrity of the concrete during that work that was undertaken at that time. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Peter. Just in the wording, I couldn't capture that, so that's why I asked the question. And there was only one other question, Mr Mayor, through you, to item 111, the risk, just their industry engagement stakeholder management process, which is the future risk control there. Is that ongoing? I see there's a lot of dates there with crosses through them and that sort of thing. It's 80% done. That's through Advance Rockhampton, so to whoever Advance Rockhampton to answer that.
Did you capture that one, Angus? You didn't get the question there. Could you clarify that, Councillor, to Angus? You might be able to
Angus, it's risk identification number 111. It's just an ongoing industry management stakeholder management process. It says it's under review. I just see a lot of dates with crosses through them, and I just wanted to ask, is that something that's like a perpetual year-on-year review, or?
It might be the engagement that we've undertaken to date, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's certainly the way I'd interpret it is, you know, the engagement that occurs with industry and businesses throughout the year is progressively completed.
And reviewed.
And reviewed, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Noting that there's nothing there for 23. No reviews in 2023?
I'll have to go back and review that one, Councillor.
Thanks.
Okay, councillors, there are no further questions to that report. I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Councillor Rutherford. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Thanks very much, Cassandra. And my apologies, councillors, and Cassandra will now revert back to 11.7, the operational plan. How could I forget that? We'll jump over it. When I was looking at the agenda, though, it was quite easy with the operation versus the capital to skip over it. So that said, it's vitally important we have an operational plan review. So thank you. Shannon, we can present your report. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and councillors. This report is presenting Council's operational plan progress report for Q2 for 2023-24. Councillors will be very familiar with the usual format of the report by now. The report provides a commentary and summary in relation to the key focus areas, as well as updates to the major capital projects. The table contained in the attachment sets out the action and targets, and it has a traffic light system showing whether the target is not on track, watching, on track or completed. The format of this report this morning will be similar to the previous quarters that we've done, with the leadership team presenting in their areas. Firstly, I'll get Ross to provide an overview of the Corporate Services Department. Thanks, Ross.
Thanks.
Good morning, Ross.
Good morning, Mr Mayor and Council. For corporate services this quarter, what I'll just first off touch on the key focus areas, the key statistics, I should say. We are ahead of everything except our lost time injuries, which we've been reporting monthly, of course, as well, and I guess that will also come up later in our corporate performance report. The other thing, the council, we have on the budget tracker. The budget is tracking pretty well operationally, and which we've also, you would have seen through the revised budget being an end of quarter report. So the other things you'll see, I won't go into a lot of detail, Mr Mayor, but there's some commentary in there about our long-term financial forecasts, our customer service, the number of calls and so forth coming through, some workforce governance matters, and also the IT strategic plan, how we're tracking on that. The other thing I will touch on, and not wanting to be negative, but in our action plan items, I just want to touch on the things that aren't green. Well, we've got a couple of orange ones which are watching, and we've got one red one which I'll get to at the very end. But the couple of the orange ones that we have is in our following our health and safety strategy actions. 6 of our 10 projects have been commenced. We're still believe we'll get through them okay, but we're still, it's on a watch at the moment, as are our lead indicators that we watch, our performance measures, I should say, in our health and safety strategy. So we're watching on those as well. Some are a little bit behind, some are okay, but yeah, it's one of those things we'll keep watching. The customer service strategy, where the idea is to complete a action plan or a service strategy, a 3 action plan by the end of June. We will focus, you'll see the commentary there, we will focus more time on that one in third quarter to get that one back on track. And Mr Mayor, I think that was most of the orange ones I had. And the last one, of course, is we did have one red one, which is actually part of the airport quarterly performance report. What that one is, in our non-financial performance measures, we have a list, a series of items there. One of them being a hazard inspections not completed on time. We did miss at the end of Q2, we did miss a hazard inspection, 2 hazard inspections, which threw our stats out fairly badly. That's was done soon after the end of the new year, but it just wasn't in the time frame. That throws our whole measure out. If I now refer to our airport performance report as well, Mr Mayor, we'll see that...
Sorry, Ross, just back to that question though. Will that happen again, or is it...
we hope not, Mr Mayor. We put actions in place not to happen again, but it's one of those things. It's just a human's error, I suppose. Just missed the time by a week. They were picked up, but they just weren't by that time. So we do endeavour to get them done on time. So before I go into the airport, I'm just... sorry, Mr Mayor, I should say if there's any questions before I go on to the airport stuff on that.
No, there's no lights on, Ross, so move on to the airport.
Passenger numbers, as you know, are going well. There was an increase due to the revised budget in our return to council and that. I'm sorry I can't quote the amount, but it was a slight improvement on our return. And Mr Mayor, all the non-financial performance measures are going on are pretty well, we're all green. One watch there is reported public injuries, which while we don't have a lot of control over, we do try to keep a tab on those as well. But happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Ross. Councillor Wickerson, question.
Yep, thanks, Mayor. Through you to Ross. A couple of questions, Ross. The first one, the airport, we finished on. The capital expenditure against year to date seems to be down. Is that because we have material supply issues, or is there reasoning for that over the last 3 months?
It's just a couple of large projects are yet to ramp up. So we're still expecting to get on target by the end of the year, but at the moment it's just getting the scopes, the procurement, the logistics behind it, I suppose, in place. But I'm advised that it will be ramping up soon. So
just been delayed, pushed back.
By the end of the year, yeah. So that's as best advice. I'm not. Yeah, we'll monitor more on that as it comes along. But at this stage, that's how it appears.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And Mr Mayor, sorry to backtrack a bit. On page 82, and we just talked about the solar farm at Glenmore. The percentage there so far of renewable energy going towards our water and sewage treatment, 0%, we expect. What do we predict it's going to be once that comes online, when it's all plugged in? Are we going to meet that 10% target? I can't remember. It must have been talked about earlier when we looked at the plan, but I can't recall what the... Yeah,
I might have to take one notice, or whether there's anyone else who may on the leadership team who may know that answer, but I'm sorry, but we'll have to take that one notice.
Yeah, okay. No, thank you very much.
So thank you.
Okay, Ross.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Then back to Shannon.
Thanks, Ross. Can I now call on Peter to give an update for regional services?
Thank you, Peter.
Yes, good morning, councillors. Well, overall, for regional services, we are pretty much on track for most targets, and the capital expenditure, whilst it's slightly behind, because we've started the Mount Morgan pipeline, you'll see it quickly catch up, because the expenditure is going to ramp up over this next month as they bring more and more workforce online. The only two things I'll bring up, well, I'll go to waste. Their performance report in waste, it's hit all targets, and it's on target for capital spend, and if we're fortunate and it keeps tracking, we will have an increase in revenue. So that's primarily to do with some very big demolition projects that we've had going on in the city, which is ramping up that commercial industrial waste. So that's a positive. FRW has performed well. There are a couple of indicators that it did not meet out of the 22. It's got a lot. There's a few. We are looking at those for two ways. We did adjust them, if you recall. This is a new set of numbers for this year, or performance targets, and we're just having a look because we have revised how we collect this data and to make sure it's more meaningful. So overall, there is no concerns about the performance of FRW, but it's just making sure we've got those targets right and they're actually consistent or sensible against the industry as well, because FRW, as you'd be aware, reports a lot outside of this to various agencies. So there's lots of indicators that we use that not just go to this table, but they go to state government agencies. I'm happy to take any questions. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Councillors, any questions to Peter's report? If not, thanks very much, Peter. Chairman.
Next, we just have Alicia giving a community services update.
Good morning,
Alicia.
Mayor and councillors. A few key highlights from community services area. We've had our community relationships officer in the directorate area. She's now embedded herself in a number of the existing community networks, and the feedback that we've received is that those people are very pleased to have that connection to council and see that representation from council. We're providing quarterly reports to council via the information bulletin of those interactions for council information. In a community and heritage portfolio, we had the report on the Heritage Village done in terms of bringing, since the business review done in 2021, bringing that up to date and progressing all the things that had happened there. We also brought to you a briefing around the Pilbeam Theatre and the condition of that building. So the next steps there is we're just refreshing some of the planning work that was done a few years ago and bringing that back to council as the next step. So that'll be post-election. So in conjunction with strategic planning as well, we've significantly progressed the master planning of the showgrounds and Victoria Park area. We did a briefing with council as well as a briefing to the Beef Board on early December that was very successful. So we're having another briefing session very soon after the election because we actually want that master plan adopted just prior to the beef event in May. So that's our timelines there. This area also, in John's area, a number of successful Christmas events. We had the Christmas Heritage Village markets, carols by candlelight, and a few other things going on. In the parks portfolio then, we saw October the announcement of the North Rocky Sporting Precinct and all of that design work that was sort of brought to a community consultation in October, and that was positive reception. Now we've just got to get some money to progress that further to detailed design. We're continuing to collaborate or work on a collaboration agreement rather with the university just about how the two sites will work together. With sport and recreation, we're also proactively meeting with all of the sporting groups. So Councillor Rutherford, you're attending some of those where you're available. So just trying to help build those relationships and get in front of those issues from the sporting groups. We also had a session in December just around the progress of the field app and some of our vegetation maintenance and how those timeframes are going, and that work continues to progress. In the sustainability portfolio then we had we've kicked off the climate risk management framework, stages 1 and 2, and we've had some significant events across the council's wider leadership team and key officers just to try and understand what are the true risks and opportunities around that climate risk. Happy to take any questions.
Councillors, questions? Councillor Rutherford?
Thanks, Ms Mayor. Thank you, Alicia. I did note, but what you've given us is really good, but it's actually not in this report.
Everything there, Councillor, is in that report. Which one? Which?
Well, can you tell me where? Because
it's in a mixture of the commentary as well as the progress on each of the actions.
The actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. In the commentary, there wasn't. I couldn't find much at all. And I did. It just, Mr. Mayor, it sort of triggered me when I was reading through this. If this is a document that our community's got about what we are doing, there's not a lot of the stuff in there. cats and dogs, for instance, are a big thing for our council, and there's not much about that in there. There's not much about our sport and rec team and the parts they're playing in the broader community.
Yeah.
So the core stuff that we do is not necessarily captured in here. You certainly touched on it then.
Yeah, so everything that I've highlighted there, Councillor, is from that report. I just went through and copied and pasted out of the actions.
The action
Yeah.
part.
I guess, councillors, the design of, and I might be taking, Shannon might want to respond, but the design of the operational plan is it's the extra effort that we're putting into things and doing things differently. The organisational report, which I think might be the next item, that actually covers all the day-to-day stuff that we do year in, year out. So it's sort of two different designs of reports, if you will. But Ross might want to talk about
Yeah, through the chair, that's exactly correct. And the reason why the performance report goes into the public, so the public can see all that data, that's why it's all released publicly before we discuss it in detail. So exactly what Alicia said.
Yeah.
That's the process we go through.
So I think, Mr. Mayor, we're replacing a couple of playgrounds at the moment. That's pretty big stuff. And it doesn't actually, it's not captured in,
No, it wouldn't be, yeah.
in any of this. So, there are things that we do frequently that, are good achievements that seem to be getting lost in the process.
Through the chair.
They're in that monthly report, Councillor.
Yeah.
Yes, but is this quarterly report is a bit like our corporate plan. It's our report to the public. Yeah.
Yeah. Through the chair, and the purpose of the operational plan is to what supports in the budget, and Alicia says it's not our day-to-day stuff supported in there, it's that one-off type stuff. The day-to-day stuff should be reported in our, which is monthly, that performance report, and reported in the public sphere, so we can still grab that, do our media around that, so it's all out there. But the quarterly, legislatively, the op plan is just a quarterly report.
And I believe if we did media around those playgrounds, there's probably a better outcome than having it in the report where people wouldn't be necessarily the wider public being aware of it. So it's probably important that we focus on the media release on those projects in there to highlight it in that space, Councillor. That's
I guess this is our history. These are the documents that are kept, and I just
reports are kept.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Rutherford. Shannon?
Lastly, I'd just like to call on Angus to give the Advanced Rockhampton summary.
Good morning, Angus.
Morning, Mayor. Good morning, councillors. This is probably my first time being at the podium delivering this report. So, it's been an interesting 3 to 6 months for me in the new role in Advanced Rockhampton. I was going to comment on a couple of things and highlight a couple of achievements, and Alicia's already mentioned a couple of those. So we actually presented the North Rocky Sports Precinct Master Plan to Council in October, and we're progressing at pace at the moment with the Showgrounds of Victoria Park Master Planning. So they're a couple of fairly significant, I suppose, achievements from last quarter and some ongoing activity. We held 3 major business events through the second quarter, so that included the Agricultural Leaders Lunch, and we had a great presentation on the Morton Co Feedlot and Fertiliser project, which is hopefully going to see that progressing in the not too distant future. We had a fairly significant energy forum that we ran in the later part of the year, and we also facilitated a Heritage Minerals local industry briefing, which was very well attended and I think appreciated by the people that attended that event. We completed the Making Water Work South Yamba Planning Foundation's report. That was a good achievement in what's been an ongoing program with Making Water Work. We completed an accessible tourism campaign development, and that campaign is now live on the Explore Rockhampton website, and we'll be conducting a workshop on that accessible tourism campaign in March. On the events side of things, it was a busy end of the year for the events team. So obviously the Christmas fair was conducted. Unfortunately, the New Year's Eve fireworks were cancelled due to inclement weather. So that was me standing on the balcony at home watching the storms roll in. And the other one, which was really exciting, was the Radiance event. That was, by all accounts, an extremely successful event. Over 48,000 tickets sold, and that's part of a 3-year contract with Laser Vision to deliver that event. And yeah, all the feedback that I've seen and heard is quite positive. We did conduct a survey, and we'll provide some of the results of that survey in an information bulletin in the near future. I'll probably leave this one to the Mayor to talk about, but the Queensland Tourism Awards were held late last year, and Council and our region was quite successful in those awards. Mayor, if you wanted to talk about that at all in particular, I'm happy to defer to you.
No, that's thanks very much, Angus. Again, highlight for the year for the Advanced Rockhampton team was receiving that award. First time we've been able to achieve a gold in that space for destination marketing, and that's really was seen across the state by a room full of both politicians but also industry leaders in tourism, and it really did cement the position and the work that Advanced Rockhampton have been doing in tourist attraction to the area, and they are going off to the national awards, which are in Darwin, and hopefully getting another result off the back of that. But fantastic achievement, and one there that the staff putting that work together, there was over hours and days of work that was required in just lodging the submission to be able to be part of that program. So it was a great night, but then also receiving a silver for the Rocky Nuts as well really just added another great achievement on behalf of the Advanced Rockhampton team and the work that they were able to achieve. So really great work, and one there we won't sit back on our laurels, and we're looking, only talking with Zach yesterday about how we can put more submissions in for this year as well. So it's a great opportunity and really putting Rocky on the radar as far as tourism goes. So yeah.
And I'd probably also just add to that I think Zach and the tourism team are getting wider and wider recognition across the industry, and I think that's it's great for the team, but it's also great for Rockhampton, and we look forward to that getting bigger and better as we move forward. Probably the final one I wanted to mention was just we've had ongoing consultation with a range of stakeholders around the local housing action plan, so there's been quite a bit of effort in that space, and probably a similar response to Alicia and Mel's new role is that we're actually getting really good feedback from the sector, saying it's great to see council interested and engaged in some of these discussions, and in this particular case probably leading the discussions locally. On the watching this space front, there's probably a couple of activities that fit in the economic developments team area that I'm watching at the moment. We're currently operating at less than 50% in that team, and we're working through a range of recruitment processes at the moment, but probably the Live Work campaign is something that I'll be watching sort of through this quarter and into next quarter, as well as the action around circular economy. So there's a couple of things there that are, we're watching and monitoring, and we'll have to potentially adjust some of those targets based on our resource constraints. Happy to take any questions.
Councillor Smith, question?
Probably more of a statement, Mr Mayor. Angus touched on the energy forums that Advanced Rockhampton have been having, which is great to get that information out to the public and also the business community, whether we agree with things or not. And I have asked Angus's team for more detailed maps of where the Rockhampton Regional Council is in that area, because there's one that's it's also mentioned in the next one, the next report. There's a Arc Energy Boomer Range. Well, there's 3 councils involved, but it doesn't show, the maps are so vague, it doesn't show our area clearly. And we need to see what roads are impacted and what areas are impacted. So, and Angus did say that they are going to get more detailed information from all the proponents and give to us. So that's good. Otherwise, we're trying to read maps and they're really hard to read.
Yep. That's part of the consultation, I believe, needs to be improved going forward with the proponents and what they provide. It's all right having the sales pitch, but it's the detail in those projects that we need to be across and make sure that we're got the policies to match that going forward. Yeah, Angus?
Probably just in response to that as well, we have reached out to all the proponents in our nearby area early in the year, and we're still following up at the moment to get updated information around all the projects and to gather some mapping information so we can actually compile that in a form that may be more useful for councillors.
Yeah, it's a difficult task sometimes. So some of the proponents are not as advanced as what the others are, and yeah, just trying to have a apples for apples approach is a little bit difficult in some space when they're not at that stage with their projects as well. So we just got to bear that in mind. But the ones that are coming forward, providing that as much information to the community is something that they need to be able to achieve. Okay, Angus, there's no further questions on that one. Thank you.
That concludes our presentation of the operational plan progress report. If there were no further questions, I request that the report be endorsed.
Thanks, Shannon. Councillors, any further questions to the overall report? If not, I'm happy to move as recommended and seconded Deputy Mayor Councillor Fisher. We'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Shannon. Move on to, we're done 11.8, we'll go to 11.9. The whole of council corporate performance report period for ending January 2024. Thank you, Ross. Councillor Smith.
In this report, page 24, it does say about Mount Morgan being reliant on potable water carted by the trucks, and page 39 talks about the Mount Morgan pipe, or mentions the Mount Morgan pipeline project. I just want advice from the CEO.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same conflict of issues had before. We'll just skip over any discussion, so we'll just copy that one from above, Karen, so it'll be excluding any discussion around.
And Councillor Latcham would be the same in that space as well. Thank you, Ross.
Thanks,
Thanks
Mr. Mayor.
Smith.
This report is just presented for receipt. At this point in time, it's on the agenda to talk in briefing session for detailed analysis. So happy to take, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Councillors, as we've had that report provided previously, if there are any questions or otherwise we can deal with it at that time when we're in that briefing session. Or if there are questions offline the councillors need to do without taking up the time of the officers in the council, always that availability as well. Mover and a seconder. Move Deputy Mayor Councillor Fisher, seconded Councillor Smith. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, Ross. Uh, 11.10, bad debt write-offs, and I'll hand over to Marnie to present that report. Good morning, Marnie.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and good morning, everybody. So presented is a report just in relation to some small amounts of debt that were considered to be unrecoverable and uncollectible. These have been waived under delegation in accordance with the debt recovery policy. So it's really just to provide council with the information to receive the report, and if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you, Marnie. Councillors, you'd be aware that these reports come up as we go through the year, just to have that accounted and copied into the reports. But the amount of work that's required to chase up, there's more money spent chasing them up than what there is to write them off. Unfortunately, it's just a process that we need to make sure that we're abiding by. So if there's no questions to Marnie on that, I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Councillor Latcham, put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. And we'll hand over to the last item there, 11.11, Marnie, with the summary budget management report to the end of January 31st of January 24. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So presented to council is the 31st of January summary budget management report. we would be sitting normally at about 58.3% of the budget at that end of January period. Total operating revenue is actually at 88%, which is mainly due to the levying of rates and charges, which have, are around the 97% of their budget at present. Those rates and charges are due on the 6th of March. Fees and charges are also above budget at 62%, along with private and recoverable works at 62% as well. We have also seen an increase in our grants and subsidies ahead of budget, but that's due mainly to receival of the money for the carting of water to Mount Morgan from the state government, and also the payments for the federal assistance grant. Most of the other income is sitting within proximity to budget, but we do have some additional car rental concession income from the airport as well, which has pushed that budget up also. The total operating expenditure is sitting at under budget at 53%, and contractors and consultants are under budget at 48% due to the timing of the work performed. Other operational expenses are within budget at 52%, and admin expenses are also within budget at 44%. So generally speaking, all of our operating expenditure is sitting within budget at this time of the year. In relation to our capital budget, our capital income is sitting at 55% of the revised budget, and that's due to some grants and subsidies already being received in that space, particularly around Mount Morgan water supply, water pipeline. The capital expenditure is also is under budget at 40% of the revised budget. As Council will recall, we're sitting at a capital budget presently of about just under 144 million, so we aren't seeing that spend necessarily keeping up with our budget timing, and at the end of January only 57.9 million of that 143.9 had actually been spent. So we will see that capital expenditure ramp up over the coming months, which we generally see as a pattern of expenditure. However, council officers are currently reviewing capital budgets and looking at the timing of those budgets to ensure that we reflect accurately what our closing position will be for the 23-24 year and what will impact on the following budget for capital in 24-25. So those capital budget packs are out presently, and post-election we will be having discussions with council about budget and where that sits.
Yes, and council, just to bear in mind that these capital projects that we're dealing with currently are not normally a normal run-of-the-mill situation for the council when we're looking at sewage treatment plants and water pipelines and the like. It's extraordinary times where we're doing these major upgrades to critical infrastructure for the region. So that said, we've got to make sure that we're trying to make those the budget timelines and delivering on those. But again, it may be something we'll look at in the new budget and the new council to get a good handle on where that is going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Councillors, Councillor Kirkland, question?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Marnie, yes, just with regards to your actual income statement that you've got there in the attachments, that figure, total operating position surplus deficit, the percentage of minus 10,242%.
That's, we should probably take that out of the report, Councillor Kirkland, because that that is just a summary of the bottom line, and
I was like,
it's because of where the actuals are sitting at present. You'll see that there's a $91.9 million surplus, which is just because of the timing of the year and the levying of those rates, that we'll see that actual position be significantly changed. But as we know, if we look at just the operating position budget for the revised budget, so the second column, we're looking at a deficit still of just under 900,000.
Correct.
So, yeah.
And I saw that and I thought, I don't know that that's going to wash if people don't know what they're looking at. But if I agree with you, that probably shouldn't be there, that percentage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Councillor Kirkland. Councillors, any other questions to Marnie on that report? If not, I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Deputy Mayor Councillor Fisher. We'll put those in favour. Those opposed, motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much, Marnie. Councillors, that brings us to the end of our agenda items. We do have items to be dealt with in closed session. We have nil notice of motions, questions on notice on urgent business. We might take a recess and then come back and do with the closed session items that we're at 10:30 now, councillors. So, councillors, I'll move that we take a 10-minute recess and come back at 20 to 11. I'll move. Seek a seconder. Councillor Fisher, I'll put that. Those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Thank you, Karen. Councillors, I'll move that we resume council meeting. Seconder, Councillor Fisher. Put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried. Councillors, we do have 3 items to be dealt with in closed session, so in accordance with the provisions of section 254J3, the Local Government Regulations 2012, the local government may resolve to close the meeting to the public to discuss the confidential items such as the councillors and members consider necessary to close the meeting. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Move Councillor Kirkland, seconded Councillor Smith. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. And that the recommendation is that the meeting now be closed to discuss the following items considered confidential in section 254J3 local government regs for the reasons indicated. 16.1, 16.2 and 16.3. I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Seconded Deputy Mayor Councillor Fisher. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. The meeting will now move into closed session.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming. arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming. I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round.
Thank you. Item 11.16, the officer's recommendation 1 and 2. I'm happy to move as recommended. Seek a seconder. Deputy Mayor Councillor Fisher. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. 16.2 Legal Matters Report, October to December 23. Again, I'm happy to move as recommended. Deputy Mayor seconded. Put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. And 16.3 that the council support the recommendation in this report. Have a mover and a seconder. Moved Councillor Fisher, seconded Councillor Smith. Put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried. Did you wish to, what do you, Councillor? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. That brings us to the end of our agenda items for today. Councillor, just a question though, do we wish to break for lunch or then have...
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
year, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the